And thank you very much for attending this class. First of all, I want to thank the grace of heaven and the virtue of our masters, compassion of the grand predecessors and predecessors and all the transmitters and lecturers to have this opportunity to present this class. The class, of course, let's see, I think the title of the class is 13 questions that the Holy Teacher had given. As far as I know, this scripture was given to me by Lecturer Tai. Basically, basically it has, I think it was done by sand writing, I believe, okay, the scripture. Okay, and so therefore it wasn't, it was a visitation from the Holy Teacher to the main temple in Tainan, Taiwan. Okay, that's this Tainan is a city, and it was done on, as you can see, the title is basically 2012. Okay, and it's in the 2012, and I believe it says the eighth month and the 8th day, but that's that I think in Taiwan they use the lunar calendar, so therefore typically it was then about maybe late September, maybe early October, that time frame. Okay, and it was a visitation by Holy Teacher through sand writing. Okay, and so therefore I guess I'll just begin. Let's see, okay, now it's possible that I may take more than an hour or so if it's the whole class, to do the whole class, including the 13 questions that the Holy Teacher has given to the disciples. But I'll see, whether I need to stop or whatever, in case that I run like over 50 minutes, so to speak, and then therefore maybe have to do a second class or the follow-up of the rest of the scriptures. Okay. So to begin with, basically, the Holy Teacher had given us 4 lines, and basically it's a reflection of what we say in Tao about like thoughts giving form to words, words giving form or becoming actions, and actions becoming habits, and habits becoming character, and character becoming or comes to well, not come, but rather, I guess you could say character becomes destiny. Let's put it that way. Okay, so the lecture, the scripture starts with not with thoughts but with words first. Okay, so it skips the thoughts. Okay, so basically it says, by listening to the way one speaks, one can know their cultivation. Well, cultivation can be explained also like mastery of action or self-cultivation. And basically it means the fact that from words, it is essentially leading to action. Okay, so second line basically is, by observing one's behavior, one can know their intentions. The actual meaning of the word, is intention. So therefore, from intentions basically means the fact that when you have action, eventually becomes what? Habits, or I guess the result of your intention that you do something, and so therefore it's basically like essentially it was become essentially a habit. Okay, and then the third line basically means, by discerning one's attitude, one can know their achievements. So how fact that when you're talking about achievements, it really means fact that it means how one conducts oneself. Let's put it that way. So when you look at the attitude of how one says things or how one does things or whatever, then it basically shows about your character, or how it basically becomes one's character. And then the last line is this one. Okay, by contemplating one's personality, one can understand their destiny. Well, their personality basically is really your character, that the character of yourself. Let's put it that way. And so therefore, from when you look at that person's character, then you can also understand what their destiny is. Okay, so that's basically the short rundown of what the holy teacher said. And then I now introduce the holy teacher, and basically says, I am 尔思天然. Well, he basically appeared as the Buddha, or we call it Buddha. The Buddha called Tianran, means that's the Tianran Gufu. Gufu means the ancient sage, or ancient Buddha. Let's put it that way. Okay, so that he basically was, I guess, visited as the Tianran Buddha. Let's put it that way. Okay, and then having presented himself or announced himself, he then made the proprieties that's required. First to, of course, heaven. The mother, let's put it that way, the mother. And then he basically says the fact that having arrived at this temple, of course, you make the proprieties, and therefore he then asks the disciples, how well, or asking my disciples, is everything well? Okay, now let's see. Oh, by the way, yeah, the phone in this part is really just to say present respect, the propriety. Now, and then normally, because when you do the sand writing, okay, in the sand writing, there is sort of like a pause, if you will, I guess. I call that a pause because they connote, they basically read it as haha, which means it's just, I don't know, I guess it's equivalent to a pause. Let's put it that way, because after all, that's just a break between the rest of the stanza and another stanza. Let's put it that way. So therefore that, I guess I'll just call that a pause. Okay. So now we are beginning the scripture first. Okay. The scripture reads, the autumn winds are blowing and the weather is getting cooler. Okay. The years and days are getting shorter. Okay. So basically that is talking about the fact that when he visited this, the holy teacher visited, okay, it was what? In the 8th month, which is really the equivalent of late September to early October of our calendar, which is the solar calendar. Okay, because in Taiwan they all use the lunar. Okay, and so therefore, when he then talks about the fact, he begins the scripture about the fact that the autumn winds are blowing and the weather is getting cooler. Basically, it just means the fact that, well, those are the translation of those words. Basically, just saying the fact that yes, it is the time, this time of the year. Okay, he's just looking at the environment. Okay, and then he says the fact that the years, really the sui ye. Okay, that's the the pinyin pronunciation, okay, it really means years, but then he's talking about the fact that because the days are also getting shorter, okay, it means the fact that, yes, he's really alluding to the fact that the days or the years of our lives are also what eventually coming to, or, you know, getting closer to the end. Let's put it that way. Okay, so it just means the fact that, yes, we are also getting older, and so therefore we must now be more vigilant in about, especially for people who are cultivating the Tao, to learn more and basically be to manifest the Tao. Okay. Second stanza basically means the waves of the ocean are constantly moving forward. There are unwelcome circumstances in this unfeeling world. Okay, well, when you basically, it actually alludes to the fact that time, I guess, is constantly moving forward. Okay, and then the fact that when you experience life in this world, okay, there are circumstances or conditions or, you know, situation, the fact that there are unwelcome circumstances that sort of like leave you out in the cold, so to speak, in this world. Okay, so therefore it's really, I guess, a way of trying to let us know the fact that, you know, yes, it sometimes feel fact that we are only, you know, by ourselves in the world, okay, and that no one is, you know, caring about you, and basically, you know, it can feel like that. Let's put it that way, okay, and then. Okay, and then because after all, you know, we are sometimes, you know, we get preoccupied with only our own lives, okay, and we don't really care about others. Well, it sort of like reflects the Tao sort of like reflects on that in the sense, the fact that sometimes, yes, it seems like you're the only person in the world, or you're the only person that, you know, I mean, no one cares for you about, you know, in this world. Okay, all right. The next stanza is basically, how can one's life look back on past expectations? A sorrowful lifetime has passed in an instant. Okay, so this is sort of like our own life. When we reflect upon our own life, basically we sort of like look at the things that we want to really to, I guess you say, attain or want to do. It's very much like okay, there's a movie called The Bucket List, I believe it's called. Yeah, The Bucket List is about two people trying to do things about things that they didn't get to do. Let's put it that way. And so therefore, when you sort of like have this life, this the life that you have, okay, then you look upon the fact that, yes, there are things that you want to do, but you never got to do, okay? And yet at the same time, that when you look at upon this life, which is roughly about 100 years, we say, okay, then it also goes by very quickly. So it comes, you know, goes by in a flash, okay? So therefore, sometimes we really don't have time to be able to do the things that we want to do, or find the time that we, you know, we want to do, okay, or the time to do things that we want to do. Okay, how melancholy, or melancholy is basically is called is a meaning of pensive sadness. Let's put it that way. That history has shown. After all, everything is too impermanent. Well, when you look at, I guess you could say history itself. Okay, I mean history. History has shown that there are times for advances and shortcomings. Okay, and after all, you know, when you look at the environment, when we want to have advances in the world, which what I call advances, basically like things that we want to have more convenient, let's put it that way. Like take the example of, oh, you know, getting a car or whatever, to have a car or whatever, then, you know, we can travel, etc., and, you know, do a lot of things. But yeah, at the same time, you know, when you looking at the broader picture, you know, we talk about what? Global warming or whatever. So therefore, those are things that, you know, are some of the things that we should consider about this this history. The fact that, yes, there are many things or many times in history that we find that things should have gone better or have should have like gone forward, let's put it that way, to advance our society, etc. Okay, but yet, you know, at the very end, after all, everything is too impermanent, because after all, everything is not still, let's put it that way. All right, so therefore we find that, yes, all things will pass, okay, you know, eventually in time. Okay. Okay. Second sense, nothing remains of the cries or singing left behind by the people of the past. Only increasingly the minds of later generations become perplexed. Okay. Okay, this is now talking about the fact that, yes, what we have learned about our past, which is the history, something like, I guess you could say that the human society has become more sophisticated, let's put it that way, you know, because after all, when you talk about like the good old days, you know, what do we mean by the good old days? You know, the days when, you know, sometimes when, I guess, human virtue itself is more expressed, let's put it that way. So therefore, we talk about like, oh, how, you know, when in the past, I don't know how many people, especially, you know, the the more later generation of people, or not the later generation, but more elderly people know about the time when, okay, you know, you can do a agreement just with a handshake, let's put it that way. All right, instead of, you know, having these contracts or whatever. And then you also basically have things in the past that are more simple, okay, and more I guess more, I would say better, let's put that, because after all, we say it is the good old days. Okay. With the past, when we look at the past, we think about when we talk about only increasingly the minds of later generations become more perplexed, is basically explained by the fact that, yes, we are constantly trying to resolve things that are repetitive problems. Because when you look at history itself, okay, the history that's in here, basically we talk about something called history repeats itself. What does that mean? Basically, it means the fact that, yes, maybe because we're forgetful or something like that, so therefore we begin to really I guess express, or not express, but rather to view history as something that always begins to repeat. Because after all, when, just as like, for example, well, a big example, unfortunately, is the fact that when we say, oh, you know, it started the World War, like especially like World War I. Well, after World War I, we said what did we all say? The fact that, oh, it is a war to end all wars. Okay, that was the saying. Okay, yet at the same time, or in the next few, let's say, about next decade or whatever later, we got what? The Second World War, etc. So therefore, yes, it is, it is I guess I don't know, a habit maybe that we got into. So such that the fact that yes, things will normally repeat itself because after all, we have forgotten about the past. Okay, then the next stanza is this. Okay. The yellow river is always rushing to the sea. Mirrors of sentiment turns into frost at dusk. Okay, so we're talking about really what is life, because the yellow river is always running to the sea is alluding to the fact that we look at a single river, and then it comes to a largest sea, let's put it that way. So it's very much like saying the fact that we have a saying that no man is an island. Okay, so therefore we tend to find interactions or I guess crave interactions with society, let's put it that way. So, but the problem is the fact that with human societies, we always have interactions, okay, interaction with people. And so therefore, the second line of the fact that says the fact that mirror a sentiment, which means technically it's sort of like a mirror. The Minjing is sort of like denotes a mirror. The fact that the sentiment eventually turns to frost at dusk. Basically it means over time, okay, whatever we have, I guess, accumulated in terms of human interactions, eventually it will still become cold. Let's put it there, or frost. I guess it's frost. So therefore, it becomes cold, and eventually it means the fact that yes, everything. It just means the fact that everything will change over time. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. Okay. Then the second stanza basically means to pass through the bright and the dark, to see through the bright and the Mara. Mara, okay. First of all, let's look at the fact that what you're talking about is to pass through the dark and the bright. It's only because of the fact that because we have, when we look at this life or reflect upon this life, basically as the ups and downs, okay, in life. And then therefore, once we have then look at the same thing with the brilliant and Mara. Mara is basically means it's the name of from in Buddhism that talks about the devil, I guess you could call it, that is subjecting the Buddha himself to temptations. Okay, and so therefore, some people call it moral. I have no idea, but anyway, it's the same thing, and basically it just means the fact that yes, in life we have our ups and downs. We see both the virtuous and the evil. Let's put it that way. Okay, so therefore we, when we look upon this life, we can see the fact that yes, we have both of them. Okay, the bright and dark as well as the bright and Mara. Okay, and so therefore what we have experienced it. Let's put it that way. We have experienced that. Okay, so therefore now we come to the next line, which says, "To let my heart, breath of mine, be more magnanimous, and also equally to have a broader field of vision." Okay, that comes about when the fact that once we have we experience this life, then we have to reflect upon it. It's like, what kind of life that we are having. And when we talk, when you experience life, you find out about the fact that how do we, you have to ask the question, how is it that we begin to know about the Tao? Okay, how do we begin to know about the Tao? Okay, of course, yeah, people say that, yes, you were introduced to the Tao, etc., by a friend, etc., and so therefore you begin to know about the Tao, and therefore you begin to learn about the Tao. So the whole idea of the fact that once you have received the Tao and therefore learn about the Tao, then you begin to understand the fact that, yes, all these experiences, this life experiences that you have been shown or given, the fact that you now realize the fact that, yes, there is something more that can, I guess we can say, allow you to transcend more, okay, transcend into something more, let's put it that way, okay? And so therefore, that's why when you have or know about the Tao and you learn about the Tao, then you also can have a breadth of mind that is more magnanimous, okay, magnanimous, yes, and also a broader field of vision, because you now see more than what you knows about your personal life or this special life that you have. To realize the ultimate essence, which is the true meaning of life, and to free oneself from the bondage of forms. Okay, this means the fact that, yes, once we have learned about the life, then we need to, what we need to do is to cultivate ourselves, because after all, we are originally just normal, I'll call it normal humans, and therefore now we need to become more than what life is, let's put it that way, okay? And so therefore we need to find what is called the true meaning of life, or the ultimate essence, which is the true meaning of life. And to understand that, basically we need to learn about this Tao that we have given, or are given, let's put that. And through that, we can then try to free ourselves from the bondage of forms, because we now realize that everything is impermanent. After all, everything is impermanent. And so therefore, and we have also experienced that, okay? So therefore, we should know the fact that, yes, we have ability to transform this form, okay? Let's put it that way, or transcend, excuse me, transcend this form. Not be able, that's probably incorrect. Okay. Not be able, confused in the unfounded. No, not be able to be confused in the unfounded. Sorry, that was a typo. Okay, and not be able to be confused in the unfounded, steadfast and determined in the step with the journey in Tao, which is the Tao cultivation. Okay, so basically the idea is the fact that once we learn about the Tao, okay, then we can now know what is the true and the false. Okay, first of all, the fact that we call ourselves the human body as the false, and the spirit is the true, okay, which is something that's permanent versus and everlasting, versus that which is false, which is temporary, or yeah, I guess I'll call it temporary. Okay, and you also know about the fact that, yes, when we learn about Tao cultivation, we have to first become a human. I mean, learn about the Tao to the fact that we are also human. So therefore, we need to learn about this Tao, and to be determined in step into the journey of Tao cultivation. Okay, so therefore we need to cultivate ourselves so that we can then become more than just, I guess, a person, let's put it that way, okay? The real master, Buddha nature, is the most appropriate. There is a master that completely penetrates all the truth, okay? So once we know about the Tao, because remember when we were introduced to the Tao and we receive the Tao blessing. Basically, you were given, 3 treasures, and basically it was one was the first treasure was pointed out to you. So therefore, within ourselves is the Buddha nature. And that is the Buddha nature that we're talking about. It is the true master, okay? Is the real master, excuse me, okay? Because it is the master that should become a resident in our human self, okay? And so therefore, it is also the master that completely penetrates all truth, because after all, we have this Buddha nature that essentially is all-knowing, let's put it that way, because after all, we are part of this God, okay, the Lao-Mu, okay, Lao-Mu, okay, the term we use for God is Lao-Mu, okay, and so therefore, but the problem is that we have forgotten about it, only because of the fact that, yes, we have, we are reincarnated as a human, and so therefore we have now lost that path that we need to go to the path of Tao. Let's put it that way. Okay, introspection with remorse is to move forward. Darkness does not suffer from the Buddha light. All right. So when we look upon our own life, okay, basically it's fact that yes, we have our ups and downs, we have made mistakes in the past, etc. Okay, and so therefore we need to try to move forward within the journey that we want to take in Tao cultivation. And so therefore, when you reflect upon that, which is introspection, then I guess it's not that fact that you don't have regrets, but the fact that you understand the fact that yes, whatever that was regretful, let's put it that way, I can still should move forward, because after all, I need to, because those are the things that we regretted, let's put it that way, are things that yes, that has a consequence of based on eventually what we call karma, that will come into being, let's put it that way. And so therefore, we need to try to, at least if possible, try to negate or that karma. And so therefore we still need to, in order to do that, we need to move forward and basically in the Tao cultivation. Okay, so darkness does not suffer from the Buddha's light, present Buddha light. Okay, it basically just means the fact that yes, we have we were I guess we were originally without the Tao, and so therefore it is something that we only have one life, our own life to live, and therefore what we do, etc., is all that we have done, that we do. But now the fact that we now, that's basically equivalent to like the darkness aspect. But when we now have entered the Tao, or is blessed by the Tao, then we now have a light or candle, just as the previous topic that Amy had given about the Tao in the workplace. The fact that he uses the example of a lantern that was used. Okay, and so therefore, you have many lanterns, etc. Okay, that it will become a much greater light. So we basically have this Buddha light, okay, that's within us, and so therefore it needs to, I guess, become broader or brighter eventually when through our cultivation of the Tao journey, in the journey of Tao. Commonplace confusion are all forgotten. with a pure wandering, with a pure heart wandering unhurriedly, right, unhurriedly, okay. Commonplace confusion or all forgotten is basically when we are talking, let's see. Okay, oh, yes, because, okay, so when we are, I guess, originally in the darkness, okay, the darkness that's in this previous stanza, basically, we have to, we need to really know the fact that you learned the Tao, and so therefore you know what needs to be done in order to, in this Tao, the journey of this Tao cultivation. And so therefore, we now begin to, I guess you can say the confusion that was before should now be, now, I guess you could say forgotten, but it's more of a fact that, yes, we now have understand the fact that, yes, those are the things that was done in the past, but now we need to remedy that. Let's put it that way. And with a pure heart and wandering, and unhurriedly is like very much what in the Buddhist text it talks about, what is called, we say 观自在, okay, I mean 自在, okay, 自在, carefree, okay, yeah, equivalent to carefree. I think that's the, yeah, that's the term, carefree, right? The translation is carefree. So therefore, once we have a pure heart, okay, we can now be, I guess, unhurried about it. So therefore, we are now more carefree, because after all, we now have understand the fact that what we need to do to manifest, or to not manifest, but rather to do in terms of the journey of in Tao cultivation. So once we basically learn about the Tao and we understand that what we have to do, then we now talk about the fact that, yes, the goal of this Tao, if one's, one looks at it, is to try to aspire for oneself and for others to aspire themselves, to attain copious joy for oneself and for others to do the same. So the creed in Tao is basically this phrase, this phrase, basically, 理记 理理人, okay, and so that means basically means to establish yourselves as well as for others to establish themselves. And then the 知想 basically means to aspire for oneself, means to basically to become more than what we are, and so therefore to have others also be the same. Okay. In the case of 几达达人, basically means the fact that it says to attain copious joy. To establish yourself, oneself, excuse me, and also to also have others establish themselves. And the part that basically means 乐洋洋, it means the fact that, yes, we can attain harmony with everyone. Let's put it that way. Okay. And also because this way we have attain the copious joy that we can have for ourselves and also with others. To use our inner virtue, which is the profound inner virtue that's self-restrained, basically understands the fact that, yes, those are things that should be done and those are things that should not be done, etc. And then also to diligently works diligently towards the unity of knowledge and practice. Basically, it just means the fact that when we have an excellent complement of words and, oh, sorry. I'm on the wrong line, sorry. Okay, to use our inner use our inner virtue, which is profound and restraint, so that we can transform the people to be genuinely virtuous, genuinely virtuous and capable. Okay. Geez, I'm on the wrong. Okay. Basically, once we learn about the Tao, we need to learn about the fact that when we have an inner virtue, and basically it is like the Buddha nature, to express that Buddha nature. In order to express the fact that we have this, to express this Buddha nature, then we need to learn about what are the ways in which that we should control ourselves, to be virtuous, to have compassion, etc. Because as Amy had mentioned in her presentation about the fact that you have 5 virtues, and therefore these 5 constants and 8 virtues. Okay, and so therefore we need to have that. Okay, and so therefore we can then hopefully transform the people to be genuinely virtuous as well. So it's basically the same as trying to attain for yourself and also to attain for others, which is this part. Next lines. An excellent complement of words and deeds, diligently towards the unity of knowledge and practice. So when we basically have, we should have an excellent, what we call an excellent complement, okay, of which words and deeds. Words and deeds basically should reflect upon exactly, the deeds should reflect what the words say, etc. And the deeds, I mean, the words should also reflect what the deeds, the action that is done. Okay, so, and same thing with the knowledge and practice. Okay, basically it means the knowledge of what we have, that we have, that we need to do. Okay, then we also have to practice, put it into practice. So therefore, those are the things that we need to both do with words and deeds, as well as the knowledge and practice, to try to manifest the Tao that we have within us. Okay. Heaven see and reflect all. Heaven see and reflect all. The good surely has their reward. Heaven rewards the diligent. Words do not lie. Okay, so in terms of heaven, yes, everything we see and do, heaven sees also. Okay, and when it's reflected, well, okay, that's sort of like in reference to karma. Let's put it that way, because after all, when you do good, okay, yes, you can have your reward, because after all, it's, in Buddhism it talks about the fact that yes, when you with karma, when you do good, your next life will be better, etc. Okay, and so therefore, when we perform good deeds, etc. Okay, or even say good words, etc., then it can have the reward, because it is a reflection upon what karma brings. Okay, and then heaven rewards the diligent. Words do not lie. Okay, again, it's the same thing about it's referring again to karma. Essentially, the fact that when we have diligence in the deeds and work that we do, and so therefore it gets reflected or paid back, if you will, by the circumstances that we will become, what we have eventually in the future. Okay. We perform the heaven's task, like together we row the Dharma boat, heaven and humanity harmoniously together in paradise. Okay, so this is basically the conclusion of that the scripture. So essentially we say is that, yes, once we know or we live a life that we had in the past, and now that we have learned about the Tao, and so therefore we should learn about the Tao and basically go into this journey of Tao cultivation. And with this fact that we begin to manifest through deeds and words, okay, about the Tao in fact that, you know, in deeds and words, okay. Right, okay, yeah, in deeds and words. And so therefore, it is very much like saying the fact that when we are in this journey of life, in this journey of Tao, okay, in Tao cultivation, excuse me, we perform the heaven's task, which is what heaven wants us to do, okay? And so therefore, it's very much, it's equivalent to like saying that when we say that we have the Dharma bowl is equivalent to like a temple, okay, and so therefore, you know, it is the Dharma bowl because it's like saying that we are trying to save the people that's in the sea, okay, and so therefore we pull people out to this from the sea, you know, and so therefore we begin to, you know, we have now a life raft, I guess I'll call it that. It's a life raft for the equivalent to the Dharma boat. And so therefore, when we say the fact that we say row the Dharma boat is equivalent to saying that, yes, we are journeying on, okay, because of the cultivation that the Tao cultivation that we need. So therefore, we basically is equivalent to like saying we row the Dharma boat or begin to journey on the Dharma, journey through from the journey on the Dharma boat. Okay, and heaven and humanity harmoniously together is paradise. This basically means the fact that yes, heaven and humanity, once we have this harmony, that from being able to bring the people, to transform the people to genuinely being virtuous and capable, and also having everyone to aspire yourself as well as yourself and others, and also to attain copious joy for yourself and others, then it becomes like a paradise for us. So it's equivalent to saying the fact that yes, we have like heaven on earth, okay? And so, okay, oh gosh, oh my, I don't have enough time. Okay, okay, so I mean, there may be a lot of questions about the way I expressed or presented this class. So if there's anything that you may want to know more about, probably the best thing to do is just use line or other, or if you want to ask. And so I guess I will conclude this class because after all, I have another 3 pages of translations that I have to do. So therefore, I may not have enough time to do all that, because if I do that, it may be another, I don't know, 45 minutes or 50 minutes to do that. So therefore, it's possible that, yeah, I will have to do a second class to continue on the scripture. So I just want to conclude the fact that what we are talking about is the fact that, yes, we have a life that we used to know. And then once we have encountered the Tao, know about, got the blessing of the Tao, and know and learn about the Tao, then we need to try to do what we call cultivation, Tao cultivation. And basically that is equivalent to like the journey. It's a journey that we take because after all, it is a process that we take, because we originally were just normal humans. And so therefore, we now have to become more than what we are, okay? And so therefore, that is what we now know, the fact that we have to be diligent, studious, and also be able to have a complement of words and deeds, and also to be able to try to transform all those that do not have this blessing, if you will, the Tao blessing, to be able to express themselves, to find the joy, okay, for themselves, as well as to attain, like I said, eventually the transcendence of the cycle of life and death, okay, which is the karma aspect, and to be able to achieve eventually to becoming, well, I would say potentially becoming a Buddha. So if I have said any, I like to just basically finish off by saying the fact that yes, these scriptures that was we had just mentioned is something that lecturer Jean had also mentioned in her presentation about saying good words and finding good in people, or finding good in others, excuse me, okay? And so therefore, I guess in the part about the Jean's presentation, she only mentioned the fact that it was for saying good words, okay? And then when you talk about, you look at the further back, it talks in Amy's presentation, basically it's the second part, which is sort of like the finding good in others, okay? And so hopefully the fact that eventually I will try to later on eventually in the scripture at the end, okay? Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I will give that present that to everyone, so that the translation of that to everyone, so that you can have a I guess an explanation of that translation, because it's very, very informal, or very conversational, let's put it that way. So hopefully we can basically eventually we can transform ourselves, transform others, to have a complement of both words and our deeds, and therefore to be able to inspire ourselves to try to continue the journey in this Tao cultivation. Thank you very much. I want to conclude this class that if I said anything wrong, ask for the Buddhas and saints for forgiveness, and the transmitters and lecturers for any corrections. Thank you very much.